Meantime, French President Emmanuel Macron taking a shot at America after his 3-day visit to China, saying, quote, Europe must resist pressure to become America's followers and that Europe should reduce its dependence on the extraterritoriality of the U.S. dollar.
Patrice Onwuka is the director of the Center for Economic Opportunity at the Independent Women's Forum, and she joins us now. Patrice, so to review, we rush to France and Europe's aid whenever they need anything, literally over the better part of an entire century, and this is how they repay us?
Well, this is not surprising. Good morning to you both. So you've got the French president who is looking for a useful distraction from his own domestic failings right now. He's had a no confidence vote, barely survived that because of his contentious retirement reform plan. And so he's looking for a way not just to kind of change the headlines at home, but also to step out and position France as well as himself as a new power center and a power broker. And that means weakening alliances with the United States and, frankly, strengthening them with China. It's interesting when you see that his visit with President Xi last week, he brought with him over 50 or maybe 100 business leaders because he was inking tons of deals with French and international companies. So he's looking for the economic opportunities. He's looking for the political opportunities. And unfortunately, our relationships are going to be with France as well as probably the European other nations is going to be at risk.
You know, with comments like this, what does it mean for the U.S.? Does this mean every single conflict is just always going to fall back on us?
Well, I think it's going to be situational. I think generally we've aligned with the UK and with a lot of Western and Eastern European countries when it comes to dealing with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But Taiwan is a very different space we're talking about, and I think the French are saying, signaling that they're not going to follow us when it comes to defending Taiwan if China decides to invade. And as we've been seeing, China has been making some serious aggressive moves, even within the past 24 hours, to signal, we do not want to see Taiwan as being considered legitimate. We want to ensure that the rest of the world sides with us and doesn't side with this nation. And so the United States may have to go it alone when it comes to Taiwan.
There's also the fact that this was an attack on the U.S. dollar as well. That was implicit in this as well. So how should Joe Biden respond to this and other attempts at displacing the U.S. dollar as the world's currency?
Well, listen, I mean, the United States dollar has been strong, and I think a lot of European countries, they resent the fact that U.S. travelers are getting more for their buck because of that. So at this point, you let things pass, let them ride out how they are. The U.S. dollar should be a world currency because so many nations use it. When we start to see that break apart, then that puts us at a disadvantage. And so I think the president has to say, you know what, it's important that we continue to conduct business using the U.S. dollar. If you don't like that, too bad.
Well, meantime, back in the United States, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was pressed by CNN over her calls for the Biden administration to ignore a federal judge's abortion pill ruling. Listen to this.
That's a pretty stunning position, if you think about it in the abstract, about the notion of just ignoring a judge's position.
I want to take a step back and dig into the grounds around ignoring this preliminary ruling as well. There is an extraordinary amount of precedent for this. They make a mockery of our system, a mockery of our democracy, and a mockery of our law.
I mean, how concerning is it? CNN is even deeply troubled by these comments that a sitting congresswoman is taking this, especially this public stance.
Oh, yeah. This exposes how the new generation of far-left progressive lawmakers is willing to govern by undermining the judiciary, governed by undermining our constitutional checks and balances. Let's take apart what she's talking about here. This idea of non-acquiescence by federal agencies means that unelected bureaucrats get to make their own determination of what policies should be enacted. And when the judiciary says, oh, no, you're you're out of bounds, then you have these unelected bureaucrats saying, oh, no, we'll do what we want to do anyway. Now, it's a way of certainly elevating cases and issues to the Supreme Court, but it totally undermines the system. However, this is what the far left wants to do. They want to say at any cost, anything nothing is off the table, and we'll do anything it takes to advance our own radical policies. And let's not forget, this is about the abortion pill. So they're talking about destroying babies.
Boy, the left loves to say, oh, everything's a threat to democracy. Is there a bigger threat to democracy than literally a sitting member of Congress saying, ignore that federal judge's ruling. I don't want to follow it. Boy, that seems like the biggest threat to democracy I can think of. But what do I know, Patrice Onwuka?
Patrice, thank you for your time this
Todd,
morning.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.